Hey everybody, it's Jill here, and I had a request to do a quick eyebrow tutorial on how I do my eyebrows, and I thought, okay, I will do that. The only thing I have to warn you about, you guys, because I have had a couple people ask me what exactly I use, what color. The eyebrow powder that I use on my eyebrows is just an old eyeshadow that's matte dark brown from a very old Revlon Color Stay Quad palette. I seriously do not even know if they make this anymore. I've embarrassingly have had this for years. And I'm probably going to have to be on the search soon because I'm almost done using the one little color that I use for my eyebrows in here. And the back, as you can see, I've tried and tried to read. Yeah, so unfortunately I can't help you there. But I do use, I've never experimented with eyebrow powders. I'm assuming they're probably the same. Maybe they're waterproof, which would be fine. I've never had any problems with my eyebrow, like affected by that. But so I tend to use just very matte, not anything that might have a little pearlescent to it. And you have to be careful because even if they look matte, they might have some satin, like a satin finish to it. So you want a very matte color for your eyebrows if you're using eyeshadow. And I have tried to use pencils. I cannot get that to work for myself. I still have eyebrows, so I'm not to the stage I feel where I really need to probably do a lot of fill-in with the pencil. I'm sure I will get there because they are getting thinner and thinner and very much white hairs that I tweeze out from time to time. So, yeah, I find the most natural look that I can achieve is with eyeshadows, and that is what I personally go for, is more of a natural look. So, let's get started then. Now, I have done one of my eyebrows already in case you think that it looks a little odd. I'm just going to kind of pin this side here because I'm going to need to get to this side. So yes, I have one of my eyebrows finished. The thing you have to remember about eyebrows, you guys, is that they are not twins. They are sisters. And most people I have run across, the lucky ones that have very, very close, at least to identical eyebrows. However, that's not the norm. We generally have, differences in our eyebrows. So don't get frustrated with that. Just do your best to make them look as close as you can. As I am losing my eyebrows and as they are not growing back, I'm finding that it's getting harder and harder to find that bottom line. But, that's the way it is. So now, as for tweezing, what I do with that, especially with clients, because I love brow design, from the shaping, I wax the bulk of the hair away, and then I really like to get a fine tweezer and just tweeze the shape in to just really get that nice shape that I am shooting for. And it is so individual. I look at the person's face, their features, and if they have I love actually when people come in and they are just really outgrown, because then you're like, okay, where's your natural arch? And you can see it in there, and I'll pull the hair kind of away with kind of this so I can see exactly what I'm going to do. And I really just go for a natural look, shooting for that natural arch that most everyone has. I don't tend to tweeze or wax much at the top area here. I think you have to be really careful with that. You could really destroy kind of that natural arch and the natural look of the brow if you really start getting hard and heavy into dealing with the hair up here. I do clean it up, and if we have hair that's growing, up in this area, I like to tweeze that away and tweeze the ones that get down in here, and sometimes they can get carried away even up here. But as for trying to shape the brow using this top line, I don't like to do that. You can really, again, destroy the natural shape that the brow has. And most everybody has this beautiful natural arch. And when you find it, it makes all the difference in the world. A well-groomed, and I think this really goes for the guys too. That's a whole different kind of attack to that, but I think a well-groomed brow makes all the difference to your entire face, but especially your eyes. Huge, huge difference when it's done right. So we'll start with tweezing. For tweezing, again, I kind of look at the features. If somebody has a very, the wide set eyes, then I can go a little bit further in toward this way to start that first line in here. If somebody has very close set eyes, I'm going to probably go a little bit out to kind of bring that farther apart. So yeah, so it's really, I don't have a definitive method when it comes to deciding where the brow should start right in here. Generally, if you really wanted a guideline that's pretty safe, and this is a preference, I don't like it when the brows come in too close. Now, I know that's kind of in style right now to have the brow come in really close. I don't particularly like that. So I actually like going to this line, which is the outside of the nostril. And again, this just depends on the size of your nose, how close or far set your eyes are. But in general, I like using the outside corner of the nostril as the base of where your brow should start. And a lot of people would say no. The other method I noticed that a lot of people are using, and this is kind of what's more in vogue right now, it kind of drives me a little cross-eyed. I don't like doing this, but it just depends, once again, on the whole feature thing as a whole. But the other one is going to kind of the bridge of your nose and then starting your inside here. Instead of going here, you're going in here. And then on this side, again, you'd be going here. So my eyebrows anymore, they do not grow any further in than I already have them. So even if I wanted them to come in a little bit more, I can't because they just don't grow anymore. But technically then if I use that, my brows would come in right here. That to me is so close together. I can't stand that look. I'm sorry. So anyway, that is one way. Now, generally, if you have somebody that comes in and you're like, I can't find an arch on you at all, most people have a natural arch, but a good rule of thumb, the guideline in general that is the most pleasing to the eye when it comes to the eye, your eyes, and in general, and again, this doesn't always apply. People don't necessarily have this place where their arch is. But say I have a client and they come in and they have really bushy eyebrows, which I love, and I get to start from scratch. But I'm looking, and I don't see that natural arch that just kind of pops out to me. Doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it does. So the kind of what I do, and the most pleasing, I think, to the shape in general, to the eye and the face in general, is I like to go to the very outside edge of the eye if they're looking straight at me. And if you're looking, and I can't tell if I'm looking straight at them, I'm looking at my reflection right now in my viewfinder. So not even my viewfinder, but the actual, that I can't really see, but I'm going to shoot here. So about right there. And so I apologize, my eyes are so red right now. I think I'm having allergies and they're just running, and it's just so impossible to do my eye makeup, and it's very annoying. So yeah, that is where you could, kind of place your arch if you're having a very, very hard time trying to figure out where that needs to be, because maybe you don't have brows anymore or you have very little. So here I have nostril, outside, to figure out where it ends, outside of your nostril, outer corner of your eye, and that's where your brow should end. This is what I do. My clients really love how I do their brows, so I'm assuming that I'm on some sort of right track. And yeah, it works really well. Now, as for how much, say you grow your brows grow way down in here, and that's very common. How far up should you go? How much of that should you take out? And, when you get older, generally don't have a whole lot of choice in the matter unless you're super lucky, but a lot of people, you know, reaching 60 and whatnot, they've lost so much of their brows and they don't necessarily grow back. So again, you have to create and sculpt the brow. But if you have one of those lucky people and you have very healthy brows and they grow in a lot, and don't think that is a bad thing, it's a great thing. But what you do and what you shoot for, and again, I don't know if my brow is necessarily a good example of this because, again, I kind of work with what I have. But you want, in my opinion, you want the same amount from the bottom to the top all the way to when you start getting to your arch area. So you don't want it to get big and then go up like this. You don't want it to go like this and then be a tadpole, which this one, unfortunately, naturally wants to do. You don't want the tadpole look where you have this here and then you go straight across, kind of like what this one's doing, actually. You kind of want this kind of same amount from here to here to here to here, and then it goes up into the arch. A very gradual straight line from here to the arch area. That's what I strive for. Don't always get it, but that's, to me, a very elegant, natural looking brow. All right, so I actually did this one, which is my easier one. This one's a little bit challenging because I kind of have to work with it just a little bit more. So those are the guidelines. So here are the tools that you're going to need. You're going to need one of these. Now, this happens to be on the opposite end of an eyebrow pencil that I tried and I didn't like. So you're going to need one of these babies. You're going to need the eyebrow powder that you have chosen. You're going to need a brush of which to apply it. This is a very inexpensive Forever 21. It cost $1. It's a small, flat, angled brush, and it's quite stiff. Perfect. And then I recommend Ready Set Brow by Benefit. Love it. Basically, it's a setting gel for your brows. So once you get them where you want them, they stay all day. Love this stuff. And that's all you need, really. If you've already shaped them, tweezed them, trimmed them, you're ready to go. So let's get going on this. Again, very cheap. The first thing I do is I like to make sure, because I have my makeup on now, I do like to do this after I do my eye makeup. And I probably have powder, I probably have some foundation kind of stuck in there, and I want to make sure that it's not there. So I go in and I kind of brush down and up, just to make sure I get all of that out of there. Then we are going to start this. And so I want to create the first line down below, that straight line that's going to go up to my arch. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I think I might have to do it from this angle so you guys can see. Okay. Got to have that magnifying side. Okay. So when I start, I do not start right at the beginning with this line. It looks unnatural. I rather fill it in by just doing upward motion rather than have that line start at the very beginning to go that way. I just think it looks more natural to do that. So I load my brush, I tap it a little bit, make sure that it's angled in the direction I need it. And I'm going to start right there, and I'm going to take this line all the way to that arch. Let's see if I can get that in a little darker. All the way to the arch. And then I start bringing it up. Jeez, I can't seem to get this loaded. Okay, so I'm going to fill it in like a coloring book now, and I am going to start going upward now toward this side, and I like to kind of angle it a little that way as well. And I'm basically pressing and coloring on my skin in there, not worrying about coating each hair. Okay, so I have that now. Now I'm going to establish this line at the top. You know, we generally all have hairs that are usually growing straight down up here or sideways. So you take a look and you're like, where is my natural you know, up my natural line up there. And it's generally where those hairs start once you've cleaned it up and you don't have any, you know, strays up top there. So I'm going to take this line now. Again, I'm not going to start right here at the beginning with it. I'm going to go in here, and I have to look down to see where that is. Make sure I'm angled in the right direction. And I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take it all the way up to that top arch area. Again, taking it all the way up, and now I'm going to fill that in. Then I'm going to load it up again, and now I'm going to take it from that top area, and I'm going to go down with it and follow my natural brow there. Filling it in a little bit down below. This is why I really like using magnifying mirror, because that way I can do little tiny hairs right in there, so we don't just have a line, you know, that goes down and wisps away. So we do definitely, I really do need to actually tweeze my brows, so you just have to ignore that. Okay, so now I've got it filled in like a coloring book, and I've gone and filled in the skin area and have that. Remember, we don't want that to go past that mark. So now I'm going to take this, and I want to soften this a little bit. So what I do is I want to soften all the lines that I made on the top and on the bottom. So I take this, and I am going to just brush it down on the top line. I take this and I brush in just to break up that line that I did there at the tail end. And then I'm going to take it, lift my brow up, and I want to soften and blur that line as well. Just not pressing a whole lot. I don't want to take off everything I just laid in there. And if I need to soften that line in the beginning, I can do that. And there we go. And then if you have to go back in, you're like, well, I wiped too much off. I think I'm going to fill that in just a little bit. You can do that. You always want to start out darker than what you are going to end with, because brushing it's going to take some of that away. And when we do the Ready Set Brow Gel, that dilutes it a little bit as well. So I always kind of go a little darker than what I know I'm going to end up with. All right. Now, depending on what wig that I'm wearing and what the root color is really what determines if I'm going to add anything to this base color that I use all the time. This color works really well with the Shaded Biscuit, I find, in the Raquel Welch line. This is Shaded Praline in the John Renau line, and it has a very, very warm dark brown. This is more of an ashy dark brown. So, I don't have what I usually use, but I'll go ahead and use this root powder. It's for hair. It's you know, totally fine to use. Oh, actually, it does look a little bit almost like a satin finish, but I forgot to grab the one that I use when I do wear this. So I'll just use a little bit of this, and I'm just gonna fill it in. I always put it over the top of this one, and you know, we have more than one color anyway in our brows, in our hair in general. So that's okay. Okay. So I'm going to take this again, and I'm going to go through that. Okay. The last thing that I do, cripes, and I didn't bring it out here, is I use a little powder brush that is quite dense, and I had already had powder on it when I, powder under my eyes where my concealer is. So I take that and I run it around this top line, and I run it down below just to make sure I get rid of any fallout that I might have created. So after we've done that, now we're ready for the Ready Set Brow. So pretend that I just kind of cleaned up the edges. And this is a really cool brush. It has these, I don't know if you can see, but it's very fine comb on each side. One side's a tiny little bit different than the other. And again, all this is really is a setting gel for the eyebrows. It lasts a long time. I've had this one for a long time. I can tell that it's getting a little bit low finally, but yeah, I love it because it does definitely set everything where it needs to be. All right, so that is it, you guys. Those are the brows. That's how I do it. You know, it differs from day to day. Sometimes I can get them looking really nice, and other times I can't. I just noticed that I actually didn't add the warmer color to this side, and you don't want to do this actually at this stage when you have the Ready Set Brow on, but I'm going to have to do it just to kind of make it match up a little bit, because I got to go throughout my day like this. So I'm just going to add that color in here just to get them kind of the same. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Yeah, they look pretty even. I still want to say this one's a little darker. Probably is. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful. And if you have any other ideas of different types of videos you want me to upload here, let me know. I love, love, love it, because generally a lot of times it's something I don't even think about. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that is a really great idea. So yes, eyebrows. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.